Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back, I'm not going anywhere. Beast! Peekaboo, I see you because I'm YouTube famous now. Available summer 2023 on The Front Porch Chronicles with Peter Monn. The album, Dad, Shimmy Shimmy, AF. Back home again in Indiana. Beast! Yes, I am back home again in Indiana. I am sitting on my front porch, getting ready to have a little conversation with you guys. I want to talk today about some comments that I received on my last video that I did about the friends of Colleen Ballinger, and just influencers in general supporting, or celebrities as well, because a lot of these people are considered celebrities. They get invited to celebrity events and premieres of movies and things like that. They get offered, you know, TV shows and on and on and on. So they are considered celebrities. So I want to talk about some comments I received on the video that I did yesterday. And then I also want to talk about the fact that Trisha Paytas has apparently begun the unfollowing of Colleen Ballinger. She has unfollowed her on Instagram, and she has started to take pictures down, promo pictures of her with Colleen Ballinger over on Instagram. So I want to talk about that in just a second. But before I do, I need a little bit of lip gloss. What to do? I cannot any longer use that lip gloss. I can no longer use the lip gloss. So today I'm gonna have to use my Bubble Yum chapstick. So anyway, I won't be using that lip gloss anymore, and we'll talk about that in just a second. So let's get right into these comments. I've had such a wonderful day. Well, first of all, I have my favorite canned cold brew, which is the High Brew cold brew coffee. Mexican vanilla is my favorite. And my neighbors from across the street, I was sitting out here earlier, and they came over here and they were asking us about our trip and everything, and we were giving them all the details about that, and they were being so neighborly, and they were giving us all the gossip of the neighborhood while we were gone. So anyway, and got home late last night, and I had started filming my vlog. If you want to go see it, check it out. I filmed the entire ride, well, not the entire thing, but like excerpts from our ride home from Mexico yesterday in the plane, and different like parts of the airport and things like that. And then when I got home, I sat out here for about 40 minutes, and I vlogged, and then I uploaded that while I was listening to my new cozy mystery, The Recovery Agent by Janet Ivanovich. So anyway, yeah, I'm getting a little bit of a late start today, but let's talk. Okay, so I wanted to talk about, I actually received a lot of comments that were kind of conflicting. People were either saying, yes, I really believe that friends of influencers should stand up and let you know what their stance is, or people were saying, no, I don't think that they should stand up and give their stance. There's no reason why they should, blah, 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 whatever, right? And I think that I shared in my video yesterday how I feel about that, and that I feel pretty strongly about that, right? So I wanted to read, I just picked out 3 comments from the video yesterday that were kind of like a mixture, I think, of how a lot of people felt. So I wanted to get in and read these comments first and kind of address these comments. And the first one says, yeah, influencers are so ready to call out other influencers that they don't like. But when it's their friends, they are all like, oh, I don't want drama, it's not my place. Nice double standards. And I 100% agree with that. And that is what I have witnessed in my 6.5, almost 7 years of doing drama commentary, right? Is that, and this is where for me, when people are like, they have no reason that they need to come out and talk about it. These are the same people that have had no problem poking jokes at situations, you know, on and on and on, and calling out other influencers when they've gotten in their own drama, when it serves their purpose, or when they're not friendly with that person. Like, they have no problem making a stance, right? But it's when it affects them personally, or when it affects their almighty dollar, which, stay tuned, because a lot of people were like, well, why is it their place? Or, and I don't understand the whole idea of just coming out and doing the right thing. I've said that in many videos to this point. I just don't understand why that's such a hard concept to just come out and do the right thing or say the right thing. I am confused about that. So for all those people out there that are like, well, this doesn't happen in the celebrity world and celebrities don't come out and talk about each other, I have proof to the contrary of that, so I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But I absolutely 100% agree with this comment, you know, and I've witnessed this time and time again. You know, when it's somebody that they don't like, they have no problem. And I'm not just talking in this video about, you know, Manny and Laura and Daniel Prada and Trisha Paytas and things like that with the whole Colleen Ballinger situation. I mean, you can talk about how Jeffree Star never came out and talked about Shane Dawson. You can go on and on and on and talk about how these people, like, whenever it's one of their friends that is affected by it. I mean, many of these people have never come out and talked about James Charles, period, in a story, you know? And continue to protect him and continue to crack jokes, which, like I've said in many videos at this point, apparently predatorial behavior is funny to these people. I don't know. Does that just go along with, like, being an influencer and being hot in Hollywood? Is that predatorial behavior is funny? Or do these people have stuff on you and their burn book? Or I'm very confused by it. So anyway, so I wanted to address that comment because I 100% agree with that comment. The next comment that I wanted to address was somebody said they shouldn't have to. And this is about influencers, their friends, having to come out and say something about their behavior. And now, mind you, like I said in my video yesterday, I want to remind you guys, this is not about a friend coming out and saying something about a bad palette release, or, you know, like when we demanded that all these influencers and beauty influencers come out and talk about the hairs in Jaclyn Hill's lipsticks. Do you remember that? Like, I mean, people were getting scrutinized by that. I remember, like, Patrick Starr coming out and saying something in an Instagram story, and then it was like, well, why isn't this person talking about it? Why isn't that person talking about it? Why isn't Jeffree Star talking about it? So, to the question on my video yesterday, when people were like, well, when this happened to this person, this happened to that person, nobody was demanding that people were coming out and talking about it. Well, when it happened to Jaclyn Hill, beauty influencers were demanded to come out and talk about it, and they did, because they were forced into a corner where they had to talk about these lipsticks. And so many of them did talk about it. I don't know if you remember that, but I covered it at that time. So I do remember that, right? So when you're talking about something about, like, a failed botched launch, right? Like these lipsticks that were severely problematic, and that beauty influencers, because, you know, they have been friendly with Jaclyn Hill and they have done reviews of her other products, are being asked to come out and take a stance on what happened and about all this kind of stuff. I do think it's fair when you are putting money in people's pockets and you are supporting them and things like that, that you should be able to know where they stand on a serious issue like predatorial behavior. Now, mind you, since I've started making videos about Colleen Ballinger, a lot of things have come out, right? It's not now just about having group chats with minors, having direct messages with minors where she's asking them things about their first period, their favorite sexual position, whether or not they're virgins, and things like that. A 30-plus-year-old woman having these conversations with teenagers, okay? That would be bad enough. But it's also come out now in past videos that she talks about lying about a dog biting her, where this dog ended up being put down, okay, which to some degree is animal abuse. And that was when she was a child, and so people are saying, well, wow, like, Colleen's, like, always been this way, right? And then to her, like, taking weird videos of, like, a dead cat on the side of the road, things like that, and then there's, you know, all these things that are coming out now. I don't know if you've heard about the recent allegations with people that worked on her Netflix show, Haters Back Off, but a lot of people are coming out and saying that she allegedly displayed extremely racist behavior on that set, and that she was very cruel to the people that she worked with. And, I mean, and you can go, there are millions of articles about this, so just, if you want to know the information about it, just Google Colleen Ballinger Netflix Haters Back Off show, and I can tell you that there, in the last 24 hours, have probably been 10 articles, if not more, that have been written about this. One of the, I think the assistants came out and talked about their experience on the show, and something about how, like, they, at one point, they, like, changed, like, an Asian market into, like, a bodega because, like, she didn't like the look of it, and that she could only have, like, limited, you know, it's very problematic, okay? And there's all these, like, screenshots of text messages that Colleen Ballinger had with people that are very racist in context. So that is coming out as well, okay? Not to mention this video response that she did with a ukulele, this sing-songy thing that she did that just is unbelievable to me. I'm just blown away. I still, to this day, like, having watched it several days ago, like, when I think about that, and I mean, I've seen it clip after clip after clip in other people's videos, I'm like, okay, I'm baffled and befuddled that this is her response to all this. So it's not just one thing that's coming out about Colleen Ballinger, it's many, many things, right? And I don't really actually think that we've seen anything on this level since Shane Dawson. And I do think it's interesting because this clip is going around of Shane Dawson when he was on the Johnny McGovern show, which I used to love that show. I watched it all the time. with Lady Red Couture. I loved her so much. But anyway, and he had Shane Dawson on his show, and he asked him something about who's the shadiest YouTuber. And Shane Dawson said Colleen Ballinger. And every time we get together, he's like, I love her so much because she always is like, okay, who do we hate? Who do we have gossip on? Who do we have to talk about, right? Well, I think it's interesting that when you look at what is going on with Colleen Ballinger right now, it's very similar to what happened to Shane Dawson to some degree, right? Like, it's not just like one thing. It's not just like two things. Like, I mean, it's like when you get paper trailed in a job, right? Like, I mean, they're literally like, they're pulling things out from everywhere at this point. For Colleen Ballinger to come out, I mean, had she addressed this 3 weeks ago and come out and said, you guys, there was nothing right about what I did, and I need to take responsibility for it, and I need to apologize publicly and privately to these people, whatever, which, you know, in all honesty, from the attorneys that I've talked to, there wouldn't be a lot of legal recourse with that. I think kind of would have to some degree nipped this in the butt. But the problem is that now she has stayed silent so long, and then she came out with this ridiculous response video to it, right? That now people are pulling stuff all over, and there's just going to be more and more stuff that comes out. In fact, I believe that with this encounter with the person that worked on the Haters Back Off show on Netflix, I do believe that Netflix will be forced, because of these racist allegations, where there's literal text messages from Colleen Ballinger, okay, on the set, and where she's talking to people in this group chat that were minors about how the other actors and people are making more money than her and things like that. I do believe that Netflix will be forced to pull the show, and then I think it will be even picked up by more news, you know, magazines and more news outlets. I do think that other people that have worked with her on other shows, other people that have done collaborations, will eventually come out and talk about her. And I think it'll just take like one person to come out and talk about her, you know, one huge person, like, you know, that have done collabs with her. There's a lot of people that have done many, many collabs with her through the years, many of which I haven't even mentioned on here. I think it'll just take one person to come out and say something, and then it'll just be like this domino effect, right? So anyway, I wanted to read this next comment, and the comment says, they shouldn't have to. These are the rules of the streets, okay? Well, first of all, sweetheart, we're not on the streets, okay? We're talking about a major celebrity that has 2 shows on Netflix, all right? Who has a 15-year career on YouTube, who was directing her shows towards minors, children, okay? There was actually this whole thread that I read on Twitter yesterday about this guy that went, and this was like, came out like years ago, like in 2016 or something, that he and his wife, like somebody just found it and like reshared it, that he and his wife went to the show, and they were both like 30 at the time, and the entire audience was like 6 to 10-year-olds, and they were all like rooting and stuff, and she was doing period jokes and sex jokes, and the parents were looking at each other like, what is going on? And like some of the parents were like pulling their kids from the venue, and this guy, like, I mean, it's like literally like a 10-point tweet, right? And he says in there, he's like, this show is not for kids, period, end of story. So she's telling inappropriate jokes, allowing kids to come into her venue, you know? I mean, I've gone to a lot of comedy shows before where you have to be over the age of 18 or 21 to be able to get into the venue. So if her show is, she knows that her jokes and her audience is for adults, then why is she allowing children into her venue, you know? That would be, I think, a good question that she has not answered yet, when she wants to put it on the parents and she wants to blame everybody else and says it's their responsibility. Well, you're the one that's opening your show up to any age, right? I mean, I guess you can be 4 years old and come into a Miranda Sings show. So you're the one that's opening that up to any age. Because why? Because then they can buy a ticket and put money in your pocket. You don't really care. So this isn't the streets, okay? Colleen Ballinger is a major celebrity that has been on major late-night talk shows. She has been, you know, on major shows on Netflix. She has been around for 15 years. She has 3 YouTube channels that have millions of subscribers off of it. She has made her bread and butter off of all of this kind of stuff, okay? Let's not act like this is just, we're out on the streets, okay? And that this is how we, no, that's not how it is. So, and I think this person's comment really minimizes the accusations and the allegations that have been going on. They shouldn't have to, referring to the influencer friends. These are the rules of the streets. You think friends rat on people? Okay, so Daniel, Manny, Laura, Joey, Trisha, all these people that have been benefited from Colleen Ballinger over the years by being in her videos and things like that. If they come out and they say, I don't condone Colleen's behavior, I don't think that predatorial behavior is right, and I think that everything that she's done looks really sketchy and I cannot stand by it, that's called ratting on a friend. I don't know about you, okay, but ratting on a friend was when I was 15 years old, and my parents would catch me with a joint, and I'd be like, and it was like my friend Sally Joe's joint that I had like kept in my pocket for her so she didn't have to take it home, and I wouldn't say that it was Sally Joe's joint, okay? That's called ratting on a friend when you're 15 years old. When you're 30-year-old grown adults that have careers, entertainment careers in Hollywood, I don't think taking a stance on predatory behavior is ratting on a friend, okay? I don't know about you, but like, to me, even referencing that, and I don't know the age of this commenter, but by her profile picture, she looks like she's an adult. To me, like, that is problematic in the minimization of the allegations, okay, and for the victims. This has been a rule, not just influencers, Hollywood, or the streets, really. You did good before, but you're pushing it now. Okay, so to the person that left this comment, I want to address a few things. Now, I have mentioned in the last couple days about Roseanne Barr and a lot of her problematic behavior, and that even John Goodman, who played Roseanne's husband on the show Roseanne, played Dan Connor, that he has even come out and spoken against Roseanne and her problematic, things that she has said. I mean, she's made so many problematic comments through the years, right? And her co-star spoke out against it, right? And said there's nothing right about it. So I just did a little Google search for you. You can do this too, sweetheart, okay? It'll take you 5 minutes, girly girl, okay? And for all those people in my last video that were like, this is so cringe, Peter saying girly girl, it's not mine, okay? Daniel Prada is the one that calls his audience girly girl, okay? Trust me. I don't call nobody girly girl. I stole that 100% from Daniel Prada. He can own it all day long, girly girl. But for you out there that can't do a simple Google search, I actually sat out here for 2 minutes when my neighbors walked away, and I did a real quick Google search. And I looked up 4 different incidences. The first one was, hold on a second, the first one was Kevin Spacey. And, Kevin Spacey, who has had many allegations, he's been blacklisted in Hollywood, okay? He has no career whatsoever anymore. And I actually looked up celebrities who have spoken out against Kevin Spacey. There have been many celebrities that have worked with Kevin Spacey and have come out and spoken against him, okay? For example, you can see that there's this article that's called, Here's What These Celebrities Had to Say About Kevin Spacey and His Creepy Behavior, okay? And you can go underneath here and you can see that Alyssa Milano has come out and spoken about him, and Patricia Arquette, Wanda Sykes, Richard Lawson, Mimina Savari. I mean, there's all these people that have come out and spoken about Kevin Spacey, okay? So, there's Kevin Spacey, and then I went up and I looked up an article, hold on, celebrities who spoke out against R. Kelly, and this is actually from Nikki Swift, who used to be a YouTuber, and yet again, here are all these celebrities that came out and spoke against R. Kelly, right? Like John Legend, Lady Gaga, Celine Dion, Dave Chappelle, Jay-Z, all these people came out and spoke against R. Kelly and his allegations, okay? Girly girl from the streets. So, then I went over here and I looked up people that had, or celebrities that had spoken out against Roseanne Barr, and here you go. It's Sarah Gilbert is the first article that comes up, and this is on Us Weekly, okay? Us Weekly. Sarah Gilbert, who played Darlene on the show Roseanne, spoke out against Roseanne's problematic behavior, as did many other people, as did many of her other co-stars on the show. So, and then here are other people that are coming out and say about Kanye West, okay? And all the celebrities that have spoken out about Kanye West and his anti-Semitic comments and problematic things that he has said, okay? So, no, this is not just about the streets. Colleen Ballinger wanted to be a celebrity. Colleen Ballinger wanted to have a show on Netflix. Colleen Ballinger was very upset when the show did not get renewed. I don't know if you remember that, okay? But Colleen Ballinger has been somebody that was worked very, very hard to be a public figure, has toured the world. Daniel Prada even said that in his video that, for Gabby Hanna, that she's one of his best friends and she's toured the world and she's known the industry. I mean, he said it, that she knows the industry. And so she's the one that wanted fame. She's the one that wanted all this fame and glory, right? So when you have that kind of level of fame and glory, and I've just proven to you that there are many celebrities that come out and talk about problematic behaviors of these people. And when we're talking about like Roseanne Barr, we're talking about problematic tweets. Okay, we're not talking about getting into group chats with minors and asking them their favorite sexual position. That's a little bit more serious to me, in all honesty, okay? So yes, the people that I am supporting, the people that I am watching and that I have supported and felt like they have changed in their problematic ways, I do think, for me, and like I said, and I've said this in every video, you have to make your choices, okay? I'm not trying to sway you one way or the other. I'm just telling you, for me, I have to make a decision on whether or not I can continue to support those people, and I have to make a decision on whether I can stand behind somebody that cannot come out and say, well, you know, this person didn't condone, like, whatever. Somebody actually put a comment up and they said all they really had to do was come out and say that they don't condone this behavior. Exactly. I 100% agree with that. And they also said, but I don't think that that would be enough for you. Well, they haven't given me that opportunity, you know? I mean, it's been 4 weeks, and 2 weeks ago, Manny and Laura took down this podcast. They still haven't spoken about why they took down this podcast. And Manny, and I could really care less about Laura in this whole grand scheme of things, because Laura never did any videos with her, and she was never friends with her. And I've supported both of them and their changes, and I have been very supportive and very honest. And this is where people, when they say, you know, you'll come for anybody and you come for the jugular, and I'm going to read you an article or read you a comment about this in just a second. I think I've been really fair to Manny and Laura the last couple of years, so don't come for me and say that I'm coming for the jugular for these people. I have made in many, many videos, or I've made a comment that I have said that I feel like Manny has made a lot of changes and a lot of growth in the last couple years, and that I feel like Laura has too, okay? So for me, this is more problematic behavior, and a lot of people are saying that they're seeing a return of Manny and Laura in the last few months, and I don't know if it's this full coverage podcast that is problematic for them because they want to talk about drama, because drama pulls the views, but then they don't want to be considered a drama channel, and then they get themselves into problems, but then they don't want to address the problems, right? And I just want to put this in perspective for you, okay? For all these people out there that are like, oh, Manny and Laura don't need to talk about why they took down the video. They got it wrong, okay? They didn't do the research. They had no idea what they were talking about, except for that I believe that they did. I believe that they played dumb and it didn't work to their advantage, okay? Now, mind you, if any drama channel out there, okay, that was getting the kind of views that full coverage was getting, right? If any of us out there did a video alleging things about somebody that we didn't do our research on or was based in truth, and we took the video down and didn't comment on it, are you telling me that that person themselves would not come out and demand an apology and demand an excuse for why they took the video down? Let alone our audience would literally chew us up in the comment sections, okay? And for me, Manny and Laura are no better than a drama channel, okay? Just because they talk on a podcast, it's a drama podcast. They talk about drama of YouTube, all right? Yes, they talk about other things, but for me, it's no different than that, right? So please do not come to me and tell me that I'm just coming for these people's jugulars and I have a hate boner for these people. I have been very supportive of Manny and Laura through the years. This is very, very disappointing for me, okay? And I have to tell you, on the heels of making my video yesterday, and like I said, I've been making some serious decisions. On the heels of making my video yesterday, I sat there and I thought, Peter, if you want to sit there and say that following somebody on Instagram, following them on Twitter, following their videos, buying their products, whatever, is supporting them financially, and if you're supporting them financially, then ultimately what you are doing is that you are supporting their belief system as well, okay? Now you have to remember, we're not talking about, like, somebody wanted to cite, like, Tom Cruise, and, like, if he's in a movie, then you're supporting Scientology, okay? First of all, Manny, Laura, Colleen Ballinger, Trisha Paytas, Shane Dawson, Jeffree Star, Toddy Westbrook, James Charles, all these people, okay, they have built their audience by having you fall in love with the world of the creator, okay? They have used their friendships, they have used their relationships, they have used their love relationships, their romantic relationships, their homes, everything, for you to fall in love with them, okay? We're not talking about an actor that takes a paid role, okay? That you are maybe not in love with that person, but they're in a movie. You're talking about you have fallen in love with this person as a person, okay? You've fallen in love with their relationships. You've fallen in love with Laura Lee getting in a video and talking about, you know, the wonderful thing that she did in adopting her niece, you know, and her relationship with Tyler, her husband, which I love that relationship, you know? Or following Jaclyn Hill and her relationship with Jordan and getting married, or Shane Dawson and Ryland and their marriage and, you know, having a surrogate for their baby and all that kind of stuff. That's where the creator pulls you into the world of the creator, okay? That's where it is completely different than a relationship with a celebrity. And I do think that it is absolutely 100% fair to then ask them, what is your belief system? Now, you've wanted me to buy in. Like, for example, Jaclyn Hill did an entire jewelry line based around her wedding, okay, called the I Do collection or whatever, that she didn't even wear to her own wedding, okay, but let's just forget that for a second. She used her wedding and people falling in love with the fact that she was in love and getting married to market her own jewelry line, okay? She used stories of her life, all right? These people all have. Oh, I used to work at, you know, Manny MUA did it. I used to work at the Mac counter, and now look at me now, and this can happen to you. They've all used that. So do you think it's unfair to ask them what their belief systems are? I don't. I don't at all, okay? So last night yesterday after I got done doing this video, or whenever I finished that video, I was sitting around and I was thinking to myself, it would be hypocritical for me to say this in a video and then continue to follow these people. So yesterday, I unfollowed Manny on all social media. I unfollowed Laura on all social media. I unfollowed Trisha on all social media. I unfollowed Daniel on all social media. And I also actually kind of made this decision because I have unfollowed through the years Shane Dawson, James Charles, many other people that I felt like were really problematic, right? And I just want you guys to know, many drama channels will have in their like profile that like a follow doesn't equal condoning their behavior or whatever, right? Because for us as drama channels, it's really easy to follow them on social media, because then you see their stuff come up. So all I've ultimately done to stand by my convictions and my integrity is to make my job more difficult. But I can look them up. I've looked up James Charles for years. I have side accounts because Jaclyn Hill has me blocked. I can look up all these people, okay? So that's not going to be difficult for me. But that's a decision that I had to personally make. I'm no longer going to be using the lip gloss because I feel like at 3.5 weeks, Manny has had enough of an opportunity to come out and just say, hey, you guys, listen, I really missed the mark. You know, I did do really problematic videos with Colleen Ballinger back in the day. I no longer can condone what I did in the past. I no longer can stand by what Colleen Ballinger is being accused of, from these racist remarks on the Netflix show to you know, the allegations with her, like having these conversations with minors and on and on. I can't condone it. I can't stand by it. He's had 3.5 weeks to talk about it. Hell, they had no problem talking about it in a podcast that they were making money off of. But they took that podcast down because what they said, because he sided with Colleen and said he felt really bad for her, didn't work to his advantage. Well, I heard that part, Manny, and I heard what you said, and I'm glad that you feel bad for your friend Colleen Ballinger, that she is apparently not your friend anymore, but you had no sympathy or empathy towards the victims whatsoever, okay? Now, what I don't understand, and I said this in my video yesterday, was if these people are not friends with her, and they have come out and made it very clear, like Daniel Prada, like Manny, that I don't know her, I'm not friends with her, Laura Lee, I'm not friends with her, I don't know her, then why is it so hard for you to stand on the right side, okay, and say there's nothing right about what's going on? Co-workers of all these celebrities that I just proved had no problem coming out and talking about Roseanne Barr, Kanye West, Kevin Spacey, R. Kelly. Why is it so hard for you guys to come out and talk about Colleen Ballinger? What are you afraid of? Like, that's what I want to know, right? So, Trisha Paytas has unfollowed Colleen Ballinger, which makes us wonder, is Trisha Paytas going to come out and she's going to be the first one to speak about it, right? Now, I have to be honest with you, it's probably a little bit too little too late for Trisha Paytas. Not in my eyes, but I think in the public's opinion, okay? Because Trisha Paytas has had a long time to think about this. Why do I believe that they haven't taken down the podcast? I believe that she probably has contractual obligations with sponsors and things like that. I don't know. I haven't even looked to see if they have. I haven't watched one of those podcasts. I could care less. But anyway, if she has sponsors on this podcast, she probably has to leave them up for a certain amount of time. Okay? But Trisha Paytas has unfollowed Colleen Ballinger on Instagram. Colleen Ballinger still follows her on Instagram. Okay? She's apparently taken down all promo pictures from the Oversharing podcast on Instagram. Okay? So she is distancing herself from Colleen Ballinger. She still, I think, is following her maybe on Twitter. I don't know. But that's going to come next. So do I think that Trisha Paytas will ultimately come out and talk about it? Yes, I do. I don't really know how she's going to do it with all of the allegations that Trisha Paytas has in the past. Because Trisha, as soon as she comes out and talks about it, the first thing that people are going to say is, well, Trisha, you did this, and Trisha, you did that, and Trisha, you did very similar things, and whatever. Like I said to you in the past, and I feel like Trisha is kind of like an anomaly to this whole situation, you know, because many of these other people don't have similar allegations to Colleen Ballinger. Like, Trisha Paytas has had her own time in the sun, so whatever. That's a whole other conversation. But I've said this for a while now, that I do believe that when Trisha Paytas draws a line in the sand is when she finds out that people are talking about her behind her back. So now she knows that Colleen Ballinger was sending her nudes and laughing about her for her OnlyFans to friends and to minors. She knows that she was talking about her weight issues, okay? And so, for me, I have to believe that Trisha Paytas is like, I'm done, okay? Because when Trisha finds out that a friend of hers is talking about her behind her back, that's when she draws a line in the sand and she's like, I'm done with this. And that's really what I believe is happening. I don't think it's because Trisha has some, like, moral ideal that Colleen did something horrible. If that were going to happen, Trisha would have taken this stance 3 or 4 weeks ago, okay? And this is why, when people say, it doesn't really matter what these people said, because no matter what they say, it wouldn't be good enough for you. They've had 3 to 4 weeks to come out and say something about this, you know? So if they're going to come out and speak about it now, they need to also speak to the fact that they have waited 3 to 4 weeks. Like, why have they waited so long to come out and speak about this? This is going to stop. Hold on a second. So just to address that issue, when they do start coming out and talking about it, when Joey does get forced into a corner to talk about it, when Daniel does talk about it, which he will, okay? Because Daniel is lippy as SHI Toot, and he will come out and talk about it. When Manny and Laura finally do decide to address it in their podcast without deleting comments, when all these people come out, and you know, I just want to say this too, like somebody said, and I'm going to read this comment in a second, somebody said, nothing that these people did would be good enough for you. Tyler Oakley came out, I don't know how closely you watch my videos, but Tyler Oakley came out with a comment and said, I don't know her, this is why I'm glad I'm not on YouTube anymore, this is the problematic behavior that I'm happy that I'm away from, on and on and on. And I got in a video and I said something about it, and I said, and I think it was a perfect response. He said, I don't condone her behavior, I'm not aligned with her, I don't know her anymore, and whatever. I mean, it was a perfect response. I accepted that response. It's not mine to take as an apology. It's for the people that were hurt. But as far as responding to it, in a timely manner, because he came out just a few days after Kendall Ray came out and spoke about it, yeah, I think that it was appropriate at that time. But these people have waited. So if they're going to come out and they're going to speak about it at 3 to 4 weeks, what I want to know is, number one, you've been so silent. Number two, Manny, Laura, and Daniel all had things to say in podcast and video comment sections about it, right? So now what has changed your opinion? If you come out and you want to take this moral superiority or say something, you need to also explain why it's taking you so long to speak out against it. Like, what's changed your morals all of a sudden? You know, which I'm open to hearing. I really am. In fact, I want to read this comment that I received on here. Hold on just a second, from somebody. And this comment said, Peter, I don't believe you when you say that all Ballinger's friends have to do is come out and say they don't support her behavior. You would have gone for the jugular, picked apart what they said word for word like you always do. You would have talked about how you would have done it making references to your 12-step program, because in your world, a 12-step program apology is the only apology that counts. I would have laughed and found it entertaining, and you probably would have made another video or two about it. And we would have all laughed at their futile attempts to fix it. Ballinger's mistakes. Yes, I totally understand why they are not speaking up, okay? Well, first of all, I'm very grateful for working a 12-step program, and that the 12-step program that I work has allowed me to learn the process of making amends and to correct the wreckage of my past. There are a lot of people that come to me on a regular basis and say to me, you know, I wish, I'm not an addict or an alcoholic, but I wish I had a 12-step program to work. So please, honey, do not weaponize a 12-step program against me, okay? And I do not believe that a 12-step apology, which we call an amends, is the end all of apologies, okay? All these people had to do was get in a video and say, I do not condone the behavior of Colleen Ballinger, and I feel sorry for the people that are coming out and having to speak about this and reliving their traumatic experience. That's all they had to say, okay? Now, you can speculate all you want to speculate about how I would have responded to that, but they never gave me the opportunity because they never came out and spoke against Colleen Ballinger. So while you're protecting these people saying that this is how I would act and I would come for their jugular, when I think I have proven many, many times in protecting Daniel Prada against Gabby Hanna, I took his side, okay? I took Joey's side when I talked about Joey and Daniel coming out and talking about Gabby Hanna. I have said in many videos talking about Manny and Laura that I feel that they have made huge progress in the last couple years and have shown a lot of growth, okay? So don't talk to me about coming for people's jugulars when I think I am really, really fair on this channel. But they have had 4 weeks now to come out and talk about this, and they have given us nothing except for Daniel Prada in the comment section of his last video when he got called out left and right, okay? So do not speculate on how I would respond to something that I was not given. When they want to come out and they want to speak about it, yes, I will speak. And I can tell you right now, and this is why I'm saying this up front, when they come out, and they will come out and speak about it, because now their careers are screwed if they don't, okay? Because this is just getting worse and worse and worse. And yes, they are getting tied into this, okay? So when they do come out and speak about this, the one thing I will come for, when they do finally say, I do not condone the behavior of Colleen Ballinger, which I will accept that if they say that, okay? But when they come out and they say that, what I also want to hear is why they waited 4 weeks to come out and speak about this. Why did it take them so long when the entire internet world is talking about it? Why was protecting their career, protecting their money at any expense so important to them, okay? They took down a podcast and didn't even talk about why they took down the podcast. You can't even come out to your audience and say, we took down the podcast because we got it completely wrong and we owe you guys an apology. They don't have to owe us an apology for what they said or didn't say. They can owe us an apology for taking down the podcast to their audience, right? So don't talk to me about coming for the jugular or that I think that the only amends that is appropriate is a 12-step amends. I don't believe that, okay, at all. I work a 12-step program. That's what I do. I don't expect that of the world around me. Hell, my husband doesn't work a 12-step program. You think I expect him every single time that he makes an apology to me to make an amends, a processed amends that he works out with somebody? Absolutely hell no, okay? We wouldn't be married today if that were the case. I live in the real world. I live in the world where the majority of the people that I interact with on a daily basis do not work a 12-step program. I do not expect amends, 12-step amends from the majority of the world out there. I don't know why it is so difficult to expect these people to come out and say, I have a problem with these allegations. I can no longer stand by them, okay? And I can no longer stand behind the behaviors of James Charles either. But you guys want to protect this, a lot of you, and continue to say there's nothing wrong, they shouldn't have to. Well, you obviously have no problem with your favorite people hanging out with self-proclaimed predators. Because James Charles is a self-proclaimed predator, okay? And yet they're continuing to hang out with them. That speaks volumes to me, right? That James Charles put up that video and then took it down and his friends make jokes of it and they put up their birthday cake that said, and you did it at my birthday dinner, making fun of Tati's allegations, which James Charles addressed and took responsibility for, and is taking accountability video, then took that video down and now it's a joke to you guys, okay? And yet you guys don't think that we need to know where these people stand to put money in their pockets. I struggle with that, right? So I don't know what's going to happen, but I can tell you right now, I think it's going to be a busy week because I think these people are going to be scrambling and figuring out PR statements and what they're going to say because I'm going to tell you right now, okay? And I said before that I knew when I went on vacation, Colleen Ballinger was going to come out and she was going to make a statement. And I'm going to tell you right now, I have a feeling that one of these people that has surrounded themselves with Colleen Ballinger for years and years and years, whether it's Joey Graceffa or whoever, okay? I don't think that many people are going to care about Trisha Paytas. Yes, it's going to get a lot of drama and trust. I will be making a video about that when it happens, okay? But I think it's going to be one of these people that has been pretty non-problematic through the years that's going to actually come out and take a stance against Colleen Ballinger. And when it does, I am telling you, okay, it is going to be a domino effect. All these people then are going to come out and start talking about it because what they're going to realize is they're waiting to test the waters to see what happens, okay? And I really believe to some degree that that's what Manny and Laura were doing in their podcast anyway. They were testing the waters to see what they could say and what they couldn't say, right? So when it is somebody like Joey that comes out and talks about it or whoever, right? I think that it will be a huge issue and other people will start coming out and talking about it and then they'll all be scrambling to put out their statements and whatever. So hopefully, I hope that they take a stance on it. I really do, you know? And no, I'm not expecting apologies from the world. I don't believe that these people need to apologize for what Colleen Ballinger did. First of all, let me make that very, very clear. I don't feel like the influencer friends of Colleen Ballinger's have anything to apologize for or need to apologize for her behavior or James Charles' behavior. I just want to know where they stand as human beings, you know? I mean, I think if you're asking a beauty influencer how they feel about the lack of inclusivity in a makeup brand, I think it's also a fair question to ask them where they stand on predatorial behavior, where they stand on other issues, things like that. I think if you want to, you know, ask them business practices about a business, and you think that that's a fair question to ask a beauty influencer or a YouTuber, things like that, I think that it's a fair question to ask them, do you stand by somebody that's a predator? Like, I don't know. For me, I can't continue to support that. So you guys are going to have to make your own decisions. And no, this is not me coming for their friends. And somebody said this is misguided anger towards Colleen Ballinger. Colleen Ballinger has come out and spoke her piece. She made her ukulele response, okay? We know where Colleen Ballinger stands, you know? And I don't really have a lot of anger around all this. I have a lot of confusion. And yes, I'm heated and I'm passionate about this, right? Because I feel for the victims. For any of you victims out there that feel victimized by Colleen Ballinger or the people that were surrounded for her, I feel for you. You never should have gone through what you went through, you know? And I was watching a couple other videos and people were talking about that Adam McIntyre handled this with much more grace and serenity than Colleen Ballinger has handled it at her age, and he's 20 years old. And I 100% agree with this. most of these victims that are coming out and telling their stories that are continuing to get criticized and getting nasty threats towards them on a daily basis are handling this much better than Colleen Ballinger did by getting in a video with a ukulele response, okay? So no, I don't expect any more from her friends than I do from her, but we're not hearing a whole lot from either side right now, and she already said what her response was, and that was with a ukulele, you know? And this is the thing, 2 years from now, it'll be one of them sitting in a Instagram picture holding a ukulele laughing like it's real funny, right? And Colleen Ballinger will continue to have a career. Why? Because nobody came out and spoke about it. And that's why it's important to keep talking about this. And this is why it's important to keep on talking about this when any new development happens. Because if not, then Colleen Ballinger will continue to focus on making videos and doing all the things that she's done in the past. And she'll continue to have a thriving career. And her friends are a huge part of that because they're not speaking out. If her friends right now came out and spoke against her, like if they had against James Charles, trust, James Charles wouldn't have a career right now because he would have been blacklisted from the beauty industry. And no brand would work with him, no influencer would work with him, nobody would collab with him, no celebrity would collab with him, and his career would be over right now. He wouldn't be thinking about coming out with a brand, okay? So if these people stand and distance themselves from Colleen, and I want to make this very, very clear, okay? I don't wish harm on Colleen. I hope Colleen gets a good therapist and she gets some real help because she needs it, okay? She needs to sit down with a team of therapists and say, I have got all this stuff coming at me and something is seriously wrong because I don't see anything wrong about it. And my response to this is getting in a video with a ukulele. I hope Colleen gets all the help that she needs. I really do. Because she needs a lot of it. Anyway, let me know what you think about all that in the comment section below. I love you guys and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.